Lakers, they are on fire. And to be honest with you, people assume, well, it's because of Doncic and the acquisition, though. But honestly, they've been on a roll since before that trade happened. And now, all of a sudden, you look at the lay of the land in the Western Conference. I think right now they're number 4 in the conference currently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're 4, but I mean they're 1 game back of 2. But then
Right,
in the Western Conference, you win a game, or
right.
you win 2 games, you lose 2 games, you could move a couple spots.
I think we all agree OKC's going to be the number 1 seed. I think right now, what, 6 up right now, or 5 up, maybe, barring a collapse. But the Lakers right now are on a roll. And look, I'll be honest with you, I was one of those folks that was skeptical of that trade, more so, the short term. Like, when I saw the trade of Luka for AD, my thought was, okay, fine, this is a move that's going to be made for the long term for the Lakers. They're going to exit LeBron stage left at some point, and they got the generational star for the next 10 years. But you watch this team right now, they haven't stopped. Even after the trade, they're still on a roll. They're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. They're number 4 in the West, number 2, game back behind number 2 seed right now. All of a sudden, you look at the Western Conference. Like, I know OKC number 1 in the Western Conference, but they're still a young team. Denver obviously is Denver. You gotta stay healthy. Are the Lakers actually a title finals contender now?
I would say no, just because I don't know that they have the size for it. I mean, since we talked last, I mean, the Mark Williams trade hadn't been
Right.
voided. So, I mean, I think that the idea was that would have given a lob threat for Doncic, that would have given them the big man in the paint. And not to disparage Jackson Hayes, but I mean, I think that that's still going to be a void for them going forward. Now, what we saw on Saturday night was they were able, I mean, they limited Jokic. I mean, 7 shots, he's 2 for 7. He still had a triple double, but I
Yeah.
mean, he just, it's late in the fourth quarter and he basically couldn't get anything off. So, I mean, even without that typical size in a Mark Williams or an AD, or, the big that you would have wanted to see them have,
Yeah.
Doncic with LeBron, they were still able to defend Denver really quite well. I don't know that I would bet on that, though, in a 4-game series, in a
7-game series for
best of
best
7,
7, right.
first to 4 wins.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily bank on that. But it's funny, earlier in the day, I'm going through all the teams in the West, and I'm like, I could make an argument against all of them. I mean, like, it's not so much an argument for them, but I'm going down the list, and I'm like, right now, maybe Denver's the best team. And I know that, like, the recency bias will say, oh, the Lakers just smacked them on Saturday, so I mean, does that make them a contender? I still just think that they're probably still a little ways away, in the sense that they don't have like a complete roster. The fact that they don't have that big man in there, I don't know how much you'll be able to guard a guy like Jokic with Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt in a 4-game, in a best of 4, best of 7
It's
series.
okay.
It's almost
late.
10 o'clock here, so it's getting me my bedtime. So
Yeah, mine too. Although, are you staying awake to watch the Lakers game tonight? Are you staying awake?
yeah, I'm gonna watch as much of it as I can. So,
Which means still second quarter and go to bed.
no, I mean, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and watch the whole thing. There's a good chance that I fall asleep at halftime.
So, like, you have the same feeling I do. Like, I don't want to discredit the Lakers, and I want the Laker fans to get all mad at me, and all of a sudden, like, oh, you don't believe in us now, this kind of thing. Look, this is a very good team. The trade so far is working out. Luka hasn't even got his legs on him yet. He's only now starting to get back. Remember, he was out for 2 months with an injury. He just got back in the lineup like literally a week and a half ago. So we're only starting to see him now. He played his best game so far in the uniform on Sunday or Saturday rather against Denver. And I think also the reason why people are still like, people believe that maybe there's a chance they can go to the finals, or they're at least a contender, is that you just mentioned it. The Western Conference does feel a little wide open right now. Like, yes, OKC is really good. We agree. Best team right now so far in the Western Conference, probably in the league. But they're still very young, and they're still got to prove it. Last night's game against Minnesota, I know they won the first one of the back-to-back, but last night's game, you blow a 25-point lead at home. I mean, look, I don't want to like pick and prod little things here and there, but that's a little concerning there. Denver, of course, you have Jokic, and he's obviously best player in the league right now, and probably by far. But they have guys, the guys around him who can't stay healthy. Jamal Murray can't stay healthy. Can those guys, can Michael Porter Jr. come through? Aaron Gordon could be consistent. A lot of concerns there. Memphis still got to prove it. Look at the Western Conference. It's not far fetched that if LeBron and Luka can get this thing going by April. I mean, LeBron is still, he's 40 years old, but let's be real. This dude is still kicking ass right now, even at 40 years old. It is not far fetched, I guess, looking at the variables around the conference, that this team could at least take a shot at the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, and then you keep going on down the list. You have Houston at 5, and I mean, like, I don't.
And they're young.
They're young. I don't take them seriously. I don't think
Right.
they have enough shooting. I think that I think if they took themselves seriously, they would have made a move at the deadline. But they were
Right.
basically like, we want to see what we need. Basically, we want to see where this takes us, and then we'll assess in the offseason, and then they'll probably look to make some moves. But yeah, I mean, going back to the last conversation that we had on the last podcast, like, I was really disappointed in Oklahoma City with what they did at the deadline, or the lack of what they did. I thought that that was an opportunity for them, with all the assets that they have, to go out and add some shooting
Yeah.
around the perimeter. And I mean, the one thing that would scare me about them is that, like, I feel like in a long series where teams are giving you their best defensive effort every night, is that the kind of thing that could be their downfall? I mean, like,
Yeah.
Shea is not like your prototypical 3-point shooter. Jalen Williams is not a prototypical 3-point shooter. I mean, I know Chet is solid from 3, but I mean, still, I don't know that you're confusing him with, like, Kyle Korver in his prime or anything like that.
Yeah. True.
So I mean, like, you look at their roster, it's Aaron Wiggins, it's Isaiah Joe. Like, are those guys going to come through in the playoffs? We'll find out. But I mean, I don't see a tremendous amount of shooting on their roster. I mean, look, they're great. I'm just looking to nitpick a little bit, like, where could I see some holes in all these teams that could doom them possibly in a long series, in the semifinals, in the Western Conference Finals, so on and so forth. So they're still, I don't want to say they're not battle tested, but I mean, they're young. So I mean, they were in the playoffs last year, but I mean, they still have to prove themselves. I mean, we've had that conversation all year about Cleveland. I mean, it's probably the same thing for Oklahoma City. Like, until they show they can do it in the playoffs, we're going to wonder. So, that does leave an opening for the Lakers, you think. But I mean,
Right.
my knock would be, I just don't know that they have enough skilled size. And in a long series, I feel like if they go up against Denver, they're going to find a way to not have a repeat of what happened on Saturday night. Like, I don't know that you can do that 4 times. Like, can you win 4 games against Denver in 7?
Yeah.
Like, shutting down Jokic the way they did on Saturday. My guess would be, like, if they played again 2 days later, like they would in the playoffs, he's going to wind up having like 24 shots and scoring like 38 points or something like that.
Right. Another team that's actually got really hot